Welcome everyone to the 38th Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And today we're going to have lots of questions and we'll get some answers from Mr. Keshe at the Spaceship Institute and some of the latest news and information. And I think he's got some possible special guests or other unusual things that he might like to talk about. We shall see as we go along here. And he promises to catch people up on past information and make sure that we all know what we're supposed to know at this point in time. So without further ado, let's switch over to Mr. Keshe and see what's going on at the Spaceship Institute. Oops, wait a minute, I have a problem with the, we have a slight problem with the audio here. It's not coming through, so let me check my Skype and see what it's saying. Could you try it there, Mr. Keshe?
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, we're ready.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Okay. Are we okay? Yeah, okay. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today is another Knowledge Seekers 28 one. We, plus the other ones we've done, with nearly getting to 1 year of Knowledge Seeker teaching in different forms.
Now, that was 38, not 28, actually, but...
It is 38. I said 38.
You did?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's my accent. It's too early in the morning.
It could be my ears. It's too late at night.
I think it's early for you to go to sleep. Where we are, what we are doing at the moment is literally we have brought the whole work of the foundation down to getting the gravitational magnetic field star formation in retesting condition without the weight, and going from physicality into understanding the positioning, gravitational magnetic field positioning. So if you've been or you're on the live stream, if you can go there and have a look at it even now, you see the reactor which is hanging as a set. The center pole is taken out, and the formation you see now is the final position formation for flight. So what we are doing now, we have taken the beams for centralizing to confirm that the fields were there. We are not looking for high flux at this point. We are looking for accumulating magnetic gravitational fields of the ganses within each core, what is residual, to in a way guide them to be in the center position as a free plasma, where we have put a detector, three-dimensional detector, to see the condition and the strength of this free plasma. You do not see the monitor. The monitor is just off camera. Because the whole intention is not to focus on what the flux is, as we did 3-4 weeks ago, WG129 test lab. Now the whole intention is literally to look at the color board on the side of the unit to see when and if this unit will move from the markers. This is important because in the spaceship technology, you do not move according to weight you have. You move according to the field, gravitational and magnetic, and the positioning you create in respect to another entity. And we kept the scale on for people to see something is happening. We kept the detectors on to show that the field is on. Now we enter condition of what we call pre-positioning. I expect maybe 2 to 3 weeks will take before we see a full results in any shape or form. This week we will add additional GaNs material into the cores, which encourages the magnetic field through friction to be created for gravitational magnetic fields. This is very important as we need more residual fields to be able to build the strength in the free plasma position. Where the set was before in the bigger lab, we had some 8 more reactors which were continuously demanding and feeding the core. Now we have isolated the core in a totally different part, opposite part of the building, which means the unit will perform according to its own strength. What does this mean? It means, good morning Armin. This means that it has to rely on its own fields more or less. And it will gather as much plasma as it can within its own center. We started with like 15, 16. At the moment the environmental strength is on B is about 15 millitesla, and now in 2 days, 3 days that the core has been tested, restarted, repositioned, we have achieved 20 Tesla. So 20 millitesla. But the interesting point is, for the first time today, we have seen an increase in the Z, which means the plasma core is being created, and now it's in its initial stage. This has happened since last night. So we received the first indication that we have a free plasma which is active. Now it's like a new child, we have to feed it to grow, to be able to deliver its behavior and its positioning. It looks very boring, is not as interesting as you lot were used to, counting numbers, going up, coming down, increasing flux, decreasing flux. This way, it brings a lot of understanding in so many ways, teaching of the space knowledge, which is everything has to have serenity. You calm and you sit and you watch, and you have as much time as you like in the space. So those who are waiting for Western movie actions, as I called them about 3-4 weeks ago, running and chasing weights and numbers, they'll be very, very disappointed with this static condition as we are going. But that's how it is. That's how it's in space. You have to understand that rushing to achieve is not the aim of the game in space. As we guided everything through, as I always say, with the small teachings, then guiding you through making of the ganses and other bits, and slowly developing it to where it is now. As I said 2 or 3 weeks ago, we have entered the world of space technology in true form. Now we have to learn the behavior too. You open the camera, you look at the Keshe Foundation, nothing has happened since yesterday. Nothing happens in the space. The space, in deep space, deep troubled space, nothing happens. You have time to do things, to serve and do and give and increase your intellect through time to think and be able to gather the strength of the energy of the man or any other creature to be able to find solutions and understand the reason and why you achieved and reached to this conclusion and solution. As I said yesterday in the children's program, we would not have football matches because you have to go outside, and you will not have shooting games. The whole process of the Keshe Foundation and the spaceship program has started. And it comes by those who will be part of it, are those who understand their own strength and in their own weaknesses. There are people who are expecting to fly and they don't fly. A lot of you will start building these reactors and it will not fly. It might fly because we set it up, but once you be able to detach, you find out you lose control because your desire does not go with what is being and what is your true feeling. We've seen this continuously. It's not just building reactors anymore. It's not building a star formation anymore. In the coming weeks and months, all of you can buy a star formation kit from Keshe Foundation people in China, in Japan, in Europe or in America. It'll be exactly like you go to the supermarket and you buy a pack of chips. This is the way we are bringing it down, and we allow other people to show it first, and then we can show the totality of it. If you looked at the, I think the Chinese or the Spanish thought group, WINS has shown how small and how simple it's going to become. We have very, very gently brought the whole technology in a point that is accessible by every person. In the coming, most probably in 2 or 3 hours, you will talk, we'll have as guests, as Rick said, the people who will start manufacturing for the whole human race, not for the foundation, in China. They have flown in, they're on their way, will be here with us in the next couple of hours. And strange enough, it's a Chinese company, headed by an Iranian, highly intellect, highly serene, the behavior of how Iranians are. A Canadian scientist of African origin, and the rest of the team are international scientists, which will take the technology into production in China, and they have understood the ethos of the foundation, which means they are opening their labs, they're opening their manufacturing. You set up your manufacturing in your countries for the reactors or star formation sets or for CO2, they are there to support. They are not there for Chinese to become the manufacturers for everyone else's pattern now. Our Italian colleagues have accepted the same condition to open the door of their laboratory and factories and hospitals. That any case accepted by the foundation is openly monitored by doctors and scientists, and the same understanding has been reached by the Japanese. Not only we start showing the universal system, but we have started to bring the ethos of the universal system into operation of the Keshe Foundation from the beginning. Which means you cannot put value on the knowledge and the thought of a person, because the knowledge gained by the person is because of what is accumulated for him, by him, from what our total race over millions of years has put together. So why should he uses the others without contributing into the whole system himself or herself? This is where the patent policies are put on the shelf. In a coming time, we will laugh at patents. We showed the beginning of this by writing patents, submitting it, and then opening it. So every development from now on to do with the energy unit, to do with the production of GANs, to do with star formation, to do with health, to do with agriculture, has become an open book, unconditional. We have seen how our Chinese Keshe Foundation colleagues have shown the work of months and months on the agriculture section on Monday. Openly, without any hesitation to share. And what if you are an agriculturist, if you are somebody who works with the seed, now that they are doing it themselves, it finishes this restriction which a lot of companies were trying genetically to control the seeds. Organizations like Santos are finished. If you understood, if you could gather the totality of what the Chinese are doing in regarding the agriculture on Monday, they showed us GM products are ended. You've seen by application of a small amount of CO2 GANs, how the root has become shorter, how the crop has become unfrostable, did not freeze. Before I forget, I have to ask something. Arben, could you please look into the freezer and see if that thing is frozen or not, please? The whole is not us. Now the Chinese are showing openly how the product can change, how you can change the route, how now with small amount of material you can, in the coming months literally, produce seeds which are becoming not water independent, but becoming ground independent of water. If you understood, go back on the agriculture section of the Chinese colleagues and have a look. The short root, these plants, these cabbages, were added CO2 while they were grown. And you see, even after the development, and they are a full vegetable, when the CO2 was added, the root is changed and immediately has become a surface root. And the surface root has thickened. So that means the moisture sits on the top. So the plant is taking moisture from the air itself. This is what it was supposed to be, and this is what it's supposed to do in Africa or in the nations, in countries where there is a drought. In the coming days, we are asking other groups in Africa to look. Is it frozen? Let me have it. Just 1 second, please. We've got to check something. Is the ice broken? Can you check if the water is frozen on top or the material underneath? Just turn it upside down, please. Don't touch it. Turn it upside. Sorry, we are doing some tests here for new material. Then we explain to you what it is. So what this implements, what the Chinese colleagues have shown us will bring in. In the places like Beijing, in China, where the desert is moving towards the city, and is half of the problem of the cities are the moving desert. You can plant trees, shrubs, which are watered or grown initially by the use of the CO2 GANs or other GANs materials, which they absorb the moisture and allow the trees to grow on the boundaries of the desert without irrigation, to stop the movement of the sand. But on the other hand, if we interfere so much with the nature, then the evolution of the man will change, because deserts are all been on the move and they have brought new life to different part of the world. We know this for a fact. If you go into geological part of the United Kingdom in around center in center points of England, it used to be under the sea and it's been a desert condition, and now we see the different formation coming up. There are mines there which has been traced, and geologically we can trace the time of their life. We can interfere in parts where we want, and we can develop systems which suits man on Earth the way they like, or anywhere in the space. So, in reality, it's frozen. So it's matter, it's not gas. In reality, the whole structure has changed, and it's changing very rapidly. The whole understanding of the process has changed. The guiding has come in a very slow way, but because huge number of people are testing and developing, then we'll see with the next position. In so many ways, we are learning how to change the course into a balanced course. As I said, I was reading about the history. Somebody sent me a link about the history of Santos, and when Monsanto, sorry, and I was looking at the history of Monsanto, how they control the top 20 things around the world, the artificial sugar, and they're actually part of the original group which made the nuclear bomb for Japan. This is an organization which works that way. They brought us a lot of good things, and something which has gone wrong, now with the technology we put back right. There is no need for nuclear weapon technology. There is no need for changing things to control that people have to, you have to control the food. We saw the genetic reversal 3-4 years ago in our research in Belgium. And I mentioned in a couple of talks, but people didn't understand. Now the Chinese have shown us. Genetic modification using the CO2 brings back the balanced gravitational magnetic field of the original seed and is useless. In so many ways, the gentleman who did the controlled scientific growth of the seeds, we have seen that some seeds have returned back to their original as a grass. A wheat or rice grows vertically up. A grass, original grass, is flat and it grows along the ground. And we've seen the reversal. We knew genetically CO2 can be brought back to its origin. And now we have seen the original of the same thing in what the Chinese have shown us in application of the technology. And that is now open, and the research is going in 2 or 3 different parts of the world. And some agriculturists, I've seen the emails I've received, have started this week to repeat and follow what the Chinese have done to see how they develop it for themselves. Now, as we say, the word is out. To control finances, to control life is over. The same thing in the coming days we'll announce. In the next 2-3 weeks, we announce the establishment and cooperation of the Keshe Foundation in respect to hospital and university position for healthcare, which allows us within the next coming months to deliver masters in the healthcare section. So if you're a doctor, you can get a degree in respect to the Keshe Foundation as a master, or a doctorate in the next 2 or 3 years in Keshe Foundation plasma technology. The healthcare alternative help people in Belgium understood the potential of the technology some 4 years ago, and they monitored us, and as all of you know, we have a certificate that the Keshe plasma technology has been recognized as an alternative health system by the Belgium health group, which is responsible for the nation. A lot of people who've been to the foundation, and even when Sterling Allen came to, he took the video of the what do you call it, the certificate. Those who were wondering why suddenly a lot of things about the healthcare stopped by what you wrote to the authorities was because then they found out we are working on the correct condition and we're using what we've been given to us as a right to produce systems. Now it comes on the umbrella of Dr. Eliana, the doctors who are writing to her, and each country and continent will have its own doctor to monitor the patients of that area. And now we've been offered a hospital, 2 hospitals, one private and one governmental, and the university, which within the next month or 2 will come under operation, that will monitor, and you can receive what you call degrees from maybe 2 universities in Europe as a master. So if you're looking for documents to show you have followed or you understand, these structures are getting put together. Strange enough, we are not looking for it. It comes to us and gets offered to us. It gets offered to humanity, not the foundation. At this moment, the changes were coming so fast that to catch up with the change will be very hard. So we again, we're becoming specialized in what we want and what we want to do. But there is one thing you have to understand. Even when you put a seed using the technology as it is, you have to understand your desire does not suppress or surpass the desire of the seed. It's the same in the universe. I don't know, as I said yesterday, you can hear there is a buzzing noise in the background here. This is the reactors downstairs below us running to bring the condition of balance. And there are people who wish and they want the system to fly, but will not fly till the whole humanity and the people who are in charge of it understand that the desire has no value and is not stands over the others. The flight system of present is by forcing. The flight system of spaceship is by asking if I'm allowed. This is my desire. Because you got to understand, magnetic fields create the gap or the space for you to go through. And if your desire is not in line with what is totality in balance, will not reach. You wonder how so many things fly around the world in the universe with that kind of desire? Because in the origin of the reactors, in the origin of their flight system, it has been ingrained. And man has to learn the same thing. At that moment, it's become so normal to kill that they find justification for their killing. And they are correct. Now in space, you don't need to just find justification because your thought is part of the structure. Your true emotions is part of the structure. I received a strange email from Sterling Allen that somebody has sent him documents and is going to publish it, that the amount of poison on the papers which I received is less than a can of sardine. I gave it to the authorities, to the people who are monitoring, and they produced the new data, how much arsenic was taken by the finger and the hand. And the officials and securities, they told me, tell the people who put this paper out, let them have 10 cans of sardines a day of the same poisoning. They become devalued. This is a systematic. We justify our own misbehavior by gathering other criminals to support us in wolf, in a skin of lamb, that is just less than a can of sardine. Please have 10 cans of sardines a day with arsenic. I gave the papers to Alan Sterling and other people, and even to Rick. Total amount of poison given is beyond imagination. And do not forget, this is just the paper. The water has been contaminated, the seed has been contaminated, the toy of a child has been contaminated to kill a child. And they escape. And now is just a can of sardine. So we make murders acceptable, and now the victims become criminals, because it's the ones who write these papers and support this is nothing are the criminals themselves paid to do these kind of things. And it's become fashionable. As I said yesterday, a 16-year-old child is get murdered, shot in the head or whatever, killed, and it's the right to kill. In the spaceship program, in the space technology, you have no right to harm. Until you don't learn that, you will go nowhere. There is no space for the man. We take you off the Earth, but you will not go beyond the plasma of this solar system. We just extend the prison, making it larger. If man thinks with the spaceship program, they can go beyond this planet and start, as we see, they start selling the plots on the moon. I want to know if they can sell a plot on the sun too. We take you beyond the boundaries of this planet, but now you have to learn with the new freedom, there is a new responsibilities. Those of you who want to fly just to show, to keep credibility, you will not fly, because it's not the true desire of the totality. There's nothing wrong with the technology. Just because you don't understand the ethos of working, you blame the others for it. In the coming days and weeks, we develop more and more and we release more and more. But by releasing more does not mean we're going to jeopardize other people's lifestyle, or we are not changing the pattern of the work. We're changing everything. We will change everything. Everything will be changed. In a talk in south of Italy last week when we were there, I explained to the Italians, and I've said this before. At the moment, Italy is a 95%, 99% importing energy country. And I put a box of CO2 in front of them. I said, how long does it take you to build this box? That in 2 years' time, total import of fuel for Italy will be zero. Why should a nation put all its money, all its effort to receive what is available freely in the universe, for its children to die, and people have no food to eat because they have to pay somebody else for what is free from the planet? Dinosaurs, if we say dinosaurs were the source of the oil, dinosaurs did not open the credit bank account that when we die, our oil has that much value. Ransom, pressure, stealing has become a pattern, and the victims become criminals. We have seen in the negotiation with Iran 5+1. Iranian children are suffering, are dying, because Iran has advanced technology in nuclear and is negotiated to give his nuclear technology, which is taken so much to develop by the scientists of the nation, plus the material they produced on the banner of the nuclear bomb, freely to the others to have the technology free for them to be able to receive medicine for the children to live. With what we're going to release and has been released and the Iranian scientists are going to release, and the rest of it, like the Japanese, like the Chinese, and like the Americans, there'll be no more boycotts, no more ransom taking. We let you have if you give us what we want to steal on the banner of now you are guilty. You have to understand political language. I said I keep quiet till after the negotiations of the Monday. Look at the pictures you have seen, all of you, with the Iranian high-ranking diplomat on the right-hand side, with the European responsible, the lady in the middle, and on the left-hand side of your picture, you see the American Foreign Secretary. Look at the posture. The posture of the three people gives you a lot who is deciding and who's the decision maker. American Foreign Minister sitting upright, very much trying to be in charge. The same with the European negotiator, the lady sitting straight. And look at the posture of the Iranian negotiator. Relax, forward, as his home, because he's a decision maker. Anybody who understands psychology understands who's dictating the negotiation just by looking at that picture. People at this level of diplomatic level, if you have worked and lived in that environment, which I did for years, understand the boss is always relaxed because he makes the decision. The others sit to attention because it's important for them to be there to get what they want, till they get it. The negotiation of 5+1 with Iran is out of the strength of Iran, otherwise the 5 have enough power to cripple Iran, but they don't have access to the knowledge. All the spies have not managed to release the information how they developed this technology. Even the spaceship program of Iran. We negotiated from point of power and we get what we need to be correct. Not to be developer of a nuclear weapon. We do not need it. If you can produce 129 Tesla in a small reactor, and you know what 129 Tesla can do, and you can expand it to 500 or 600, you don't need nuclear weapon. You don't need nuclear technology, it's obsolete. Why did people went out trying to discredit the 129? Anyone who went on the internet and put everything else that 129 Tesla was fault, the system was wrong, the meter was wrong, we got it checked and everything is correct, are the people who are paid to do these kind of things. Because, what does it mean? 129 Tesla, just go on the internet and put the highest values of Tesla achieved by whom and where. When you can, in a small reactor, cost less than $2,000, create such a huge amount of magnetic fields in a plasmatic form, who needs nuclear? And somehow these people have managed to get their false information in the news because they control it. The weapon technology, the nuclear weapon technology, as we said, is obsolete, and we have shown it. You got to realize the field of 129 Tesla is spherical. How much field do you want it to cover? read what Tesla destroyed the equipment. 93 Tesla. When you speak to the scientists of American Las Almas Center. This is what the new technology brings. The use of the technology as a weapon is so horrendous that nobody will even think and touch it. We have to negotiate to feed the children, not to go hungry, and have the equipment not to die in hospitals. And now the system technology will be delivered to every corner of this planet that nobody can be taken for ransom. The new test with the technology in respect to Ebola and AIDS has started. We will report it the way we did with the others. And when the papers are published by the university, we will release it too. The process has started. Dr. Elia is putting reports that in the coming weeks and months, every study case will be monitored publicly worldwide, which means you can see the condition of the volunteer. If the system worked, how it's been. And she asked that we need to do this as what you call evidence of the process. But we don't produce evidence of process. We show the achievement of the process and how we can add to knowledge. No one, the way we put our reactors downstairs and you can see now what it's doing, you will be able to monitor every case, be it cancer, be it epilepsy, be it blindness, be it paralysis. This is the way we operate, and you've seen how the Chinese followed and how other scientists are following the same way. The study cases of the foundation will be open book, because we are opening a new era, and by hiding it, we will not learn and we cannot share. In the coming months, Dr. Elia will put everything as a report comes from the volunteers on the internet, which means you can follow. If it worked, if it didn't work, how good we worked. So you have the same illness, you can follow if you want to use this procedure. And you don't come to the foundation, you go to the Keshe Foundation of your own nation for them to support you. We change the game, and the game is changing in a very slow way, but within the roots of the people, within the communities, and not within the governments, that they can find a way to block it. Once the university's courses start, I was told late last night by our Italian colleagues that it's primarily been accepted. Now we have to sit on the structure to receive what is accepted and how. In the meetings which come in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll see it. You can online, doesn't matter where you are, what language you speak, learn the whole thing that you can support your nation or yourself. The hardest thing was to put the first systems out. Now that we put the kits as a symbol of showing you that people are producing CO2s, the energy, the basis for the new future understanding of the system has opened up. You can produce, if you are strong enough that you mean what you do, like us, you develop a technology using the knowledge from the spaceship program, you put it online, you approach us, you give it to the foundation, and we put it on the net for others to add to it or use it for their own benefit. There are people who write to me that they are not receiving their books. It's not our fault. We have explained it. And most of the people who write that they did not receive the book, especially nowadays, come from Belgium. We start responding very clearly. If you're not receiving your books, please do not blame us. It's the old system who still wants to stick to their position. Your books are paid for to the shippers, paid for shipping, and by the order of government has been thrown in the sea somewhere near Belgium. But the only problem is they do not understand when the guy picked that book up, left the tracking number by DHL. A serious condition legal procedure has started by the Foundation as of yesterday to track every order from the day of the establishment of the Keshe Foundation selling books, where the books been, when they delivered, who has not received, and what money has been paid that we have not received, and who has not received their books. And if they don't do match, where is it and where they are? We have 400 books sitting in Belgium Central Post Office for 2 years. Strange enough, everybody else's books goes through except Keshe Foundation. Now the same process has started with DHL, with Belgium. We will replace every single book freely. This is what we received yesterday from the distributors. They understood what they got involved in, how they've been trapped. We released their papers. The owner, the director of the company has taken charge to follow every single purchase which has come in, and the books are not delivered in past 12 months. We have a DHL record, and if the DHL steals books, or somebody, the books are so good that they're giving it to others to read, but not the people who paid for it, has to show. Can we release shipment by papers? You know how freely we release everything. You bought the book, your name, your address will be released according to the DHL number dispatch, unless the shippers have charges and they have not shipped the goods. Very soon, in a very, very short while, we'll open the e-books on a donation basis. It's in the process. There are some legalities we have to cover. In the next 4 or 5 months, we might achieve that, and then we release the books. If you want a hard copy, we sell you the hard copy from the foundation. If you want a soft copy, last week in a lecture, and a gentleman supposed to be a scientist asked for the book and put the book in his clothes and disappeared. And the organizers, they said, we pay for it. They even checked his car. They didn't know where he put it. But I said, he won't get anything from it. He will not gain any knowledge from what is stolen. The guy took a physical book stolen. Others go on the internet and they do the same thing. We change the course in a very simple way. We shown the CO2, hopefully before end of this session. Our group of manufacturers from China who are researchers and developers, and they want to commercialize the whole package. They'll be here. You can speak to them, or you can tell them what you need for your nation, that they can put in the plan of production. That's how open the technology is. They are so open that they have already approached some of you. You have talked to them, because they want to understand what's the next step, what they have to plan, what they have to do. There is a very important position in respect to the Keshe Foundation and our work. We are not philanthropists of science. We are in a structure, a new ethos of living by action, by doing, and by thinking. We don't set examples, we live by the examples. When it doesn't work, there is a reason for it. We don't blame the others, we look inside what have we done wrong that it shouldn't be there, and we haven't achieved what we desired. Disappointment is our own shortcomings, not the other's fault. You cannot teach science if you don't understand the whole principle behind it. Unless you're just looking for something to say, I read the book. Doesn't mean you understood the book. Look into the structures you're developing, be it the guns, be it the medical unit, be it the reactors to fly. If you understood the ethos, then you achieve what you're set to earn. If you don't learn, that's the problem, means you haven't started the right way. Your wishes are overwhelming the desire and what is needed to be done. I cannot come here and just show you this is the reactor, this is what does. So I become another Edison and something else, just give you the tools, and become Einstein and others to give you the tools to kill yourself more. Scientists who work with us and stand in position with us understand, especially I explain to them who tend or try to work with us, I have no respect for people like Edison, because their ego is bigger than the reality. Why should you build a chair to kill another man to prove that somebody else is wrong and I'm right? That's how electric chair came into play. Showing Tesla was wrong. And the dangers with Tesla. Soon what Edison worked for will come into the books of history and nobody will remember it because it came the wrong way. We see the light bulb has changed from the time he started it. Now we are in LEDs and different ways, and soon plasma lighting will put the name of Edison for his wrongdoing into the books that nobody will ever remember him. Look at how the American and the Russian space program started. It came with the hand of the people who murdering was their target, and the chameleons changed their color. And they started the American NASA program. Van Braun, the man who actually developed the rockets to kill as many as you can, suddenly he became an angel. And then when we found out in past 10 years that he's been behind the most horrendous murders of scientists and people in the mountains of Switzerland, to be able to achieve the rocket, he just changed the chameleon clothes. And now we see what happened. The space program is finished. Nobody will ever remember these things soon. The technology, spaceship technology, goes science with the ethos of space. And if it sounds like some people become like prophets, it's your problem, because you haven't ever understood the correct ethos from the beginning. We start new developments in production of medical units internationally soon. These medical units can be adjusted for any disease at the point of need. We offer the technology to major medical groups 5 years ago. The profit out of tablets and little machines was more than what they could see. Now every man has it free. You will see slowly they join the names of Kodak. They did not evolve, they are finished. And strange enough, we will see new groups of scientists and people who build these systems according to what is needed for the environment they needed. I have started in past week or so teaching the knowledge seekers and Dr. Elia in depth the work of medical units, because now we have nothing to do. We have to wait till the space unit or star formation reaches maturity. So now I opened another channel in the medical side that they can relate one to another and bring the CO2 with a space for star formation into the medical application, that the system can be used to create different miniature universes, star formations for different diseases in one unit. I start teaching even Marco in understanding what it means, things in the blood. Armin knows what the target is in producing miniature reactors to be put in 300 or 400 reactors in one chair, that we can influence the work of the operation of the body. He says to me he'll come back with 40 units after holidays. Yeah, I said I need 400. These are 1 centimeter diameter cores, which will be tested with the Armand has a, what do you call it? The micromotors? With the micromotors. So knowledge seekers now move into the medical side while we're waiting other things to be developed as they're working. Once we develop it, you will receive it. Is there any question?
Thank you for that, Mr. Keshe. There's lots of information in there, and glad that the humanity is moving forward, even with bumps and bruises that happen along the way.
A lot of bruises and a lot of bumps. It's a quote here.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Keeping with the habit, I will try to open the questions. So I will ask Rick to load the picture who received from me. Okay.
And I just wait 1 second. I'm not on the live stream. Marco,
Oh, okay.
Can we pull the live stream? That heater is on. You're not cold. If he's not cold, God help us. Okay, which picture? Because we only see our reactor on the live stream.
So Rick, can you please upload that picture or share it? Share the screen. Oh, okay. Okay, so meantime, I will try to talk a little bit. So we can introduce ourselves into the topic. So if you remember 3-4 workshops ago, I was trying to fill a ferrite core with CO2 gas, which had the core had a drilled a hole, and that was filled with CO2 gas. Obviously, the CO2 gas is a whitish thing, and it lost the water, obviously, in time, and it created some sort of film, like a polymer, which I tested. It is an insulating material, is like, that kind of
It's a
cell.
nanomaterial what you have created.
Yes, the CO2
It's a
GANs.
nano, yeah, with the CO2 gas you have created nano layer in the hole you drilled or you put your guns in.
No. I just drilled a hole, right? And I was
Yeah.
filling it with a syringe with the CO2 GANs.
Yeah.
Just as you guys are doing with your reactors. Just fill
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And in about 2 weeks, it lost the water because it was filled up to the top level. And as you can see, it created like a film on the surface of ferrite. I tested
In the
with a
hole.
meter. Yes, you can see is shiny. It's like a film, like you put like a plastic film, something like that.
Yeah.
Is something like the rubber,
Yeah.
but it's transparent. So I'm guessing that the CO2 either attracted something from the atmosphere or by itself, created something like sort of polymer of CO2 gas, or I don't know how to name it. And you can see that in the in-depth, the substance below that film is still whitish. And it is not conductive. I was putting an off meter, it's an insulator.
Yeah.
So now I did not use the electric to do circuits and tested the behavior, but I wanted to show it to you, and the question will be for today, do you think that the GANs, CO2 GANs, can revert back to matter? Because that was looking like...
Yes. Yes, what it does, it reverts back into GANs of the matter, into a nano of the matter. If you tested it, it should be insulating. We've seen this, and
Yes, it is.
yeah, it is. We've seen this. It is the CO2. It's not returning. If you remember how you produced the GANs, and then with the condition changes, it goes back to matter, and it behaves in the nano layer of matter, and then if you change the condition slightly, it becomes a matter strength. This happens in your lung. You breathe air in, the liquid of your lung changes the matter to GANs, and literally nano GANs, and then the energy is transferred to the blood, and then it comes back again and it becomes matter when it goes through the liquid in reverse condition, receiving some more energy, and it comes out as a matter in a lower level.
So you are trying to suggest that we obtain a CO2 polymer in a solid state?
It is not necessarily CO2, it's partially CO2. It's not a polymer, it's a nano layer. It's a nano layer, and at the same time, where you drill the material, because they receive and they exchange energy with the CO2 and the water, their behavior becomes a nano too. So you initiate it. In the copper core, if you measure resistance up to a certain point and time, your copper become nano-coated. The resistance is different than the copper before you put in. If you measure the resistance outside, from the outside the copper core, it'll be different than internally. Because part of the copper itself at the point of contact because we don't see it with the naked eye, but if you look on the close observation in layer by layer, you will see there is a transition from GANs to matter. And in that transition, you have a nano layer. And what you see is more nano layer, and what you test is a nano layer property. This happens with the skin of man. GANs is inside, and as the cells come out to the surface to become the skin, they change to matter. And in one layer, in a specific layer in the body of the man, we call it the middle layer. Actually, it's between middle layer and the top layer. There is a nano-conductivity resistance. That's why we don't lose all the heat in our body, because it reflects back in to keep it as a constant. It's like this nano layer in the skin of man is like a control heat sheet blanket. So that keeps the constant temperature. And what you've done, because I'm sure in your team, in your government team, there are tools that you can go down to layers by layers. You will see a nano layer somewhere in that shield. So you gave the energy from the copper. Actually, most of the energy, oxidization, or transfer comes through the water, which you don't see now. You said it's evaporated. The energy given has converted, and the energy taken has converted layers of the very top layers, maybe a few hundred layers, nano layers, and that's what becomes insulated. It's not a polymer. It's actually your own steel which has changed. You don't add anything to it. The composition is the atomic structure of the steel which you used. It's become GaNs.
Okay, thank you. We'll do, electrical testing and we'll report in the next coming week.
Yeah,
So
ask the guys to give you, what they call it, the powerful systems they have. Then you can see it layer by layer. Structurally, you can see it if you go from the matter to the outer surface where the CO2 was. You should be able to find a few layers of nano material, and that's what you see. Outside is like dried CO2, but in between you have the property of it, of the nano layers. Ask the guys to give you electronic, what do you call it, microscopes, the powerful ones. Your guys have it in their in arsenal, in their tools.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We know what we're talking about. Any other question?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. It's Ivan from Bulgaria.
From
I
where?
have a question. Bulgaria.
From where? Oh, hi. Ivan.
Bulgaria.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. So I built here 4 reactors and I make an experiment. So each reactor has a nano plate and ordinary plate of different material. And in one of my reactors, I put a magnetic ball under the system just to see what is going to happen. And I have 2 observations of the process. That one is that the process in that container starts a little bit fast. I can see that the current from one nanoplate to I have copper plate and the other plate is nickel zinc. The current in that system is like 2 or 3 times higher than the current through the other systems.
Can
And
you explain? Stop. Go back to the beginning and explain to us step by step what you've done.
okay, so I get water bottle from water, 10 liters, and I cut it. And I nano coat one plate that is from copper. So I have 4 reactors. 2 of them are with nano copper plate and the rest are with nano brass plates. And in only one of the systems, I put a magnetic ball under the bottle, under the reactor. And I connect it in the same way that you connect it with the CO2 kit. 2 plates and
Have
I
you
put
got a
them together
camera?
with
You
a
can
wire.
draw this for us.
No, I don't have pictures.
No. Okay, so you took a magnet on the one of the balls, one of the reactors.
I just put the ball under the reactor, just to
Yeah.
use the field of the ball, and I put water with ionized sea salt I use.
Yeah.
So what happened? It was that I see in only in the other reactors when I measure the current, I always measure it with the voltmeter. I put the plus to the nano plate and the other to the ordinary plate that is not nano. And in the reactors, sometimes I see change of direction and flow. But in that reactor, where I have the magnetic field extra, it's never changing the direction. I mean, in the moment that I measure it, it's like 200 or 300 millivolts sometimes. And of course, if I keep it, it's jumping to 0 to 10 to 100. Only one time it jumped to minus 5 millivolt, but it comes back to 300 very fast. I mean that it's keeping the flow from the nano plate to the other plate. It's very strange. It's never changing. And in the other reactors, I can see that sometimes it's changing.
Yeah, the thing is, if you, when you made your plate, you would have used the voltmeter, or what I call the direction of flow. You try to homogenize the direction of flow of the current in your plate. That's why we do it. But you got to understand, if you do this before you take the plate out, that you touch the plate again, you find out the flow change will not happen. What we usually do, we touch the plate when we take it out of the caustic, and then we leave it in. If you go back, because we were talking about this with Marco yesterday, he said in your talks or in the Fukushima video, you say every few hours to touch the plates with the voltmeter. The reason you do that is to set the flow and the direction of the flow in the plasmas. If you don't do that, what happens, you have layers and layers of nanomaterial, which one is going north, one going south, one going whatever direction. And wherever the flow changes, you get up or down, negative, positive, and you go in every direction, because that depends how the plates been, the layers have been laid. When you put magnet under the system and it doesn't change that much, it's in one direction, because now instead of putting the voltmeter, you have dictated the matter condition according to the fields you put under. So you dictate the flow. If you turn your magnet the other way around, you'll find out the flow goes from, let's say, plus to minus, and stays minus.
Hmm.
So you can dictate the direction of the flow after you produced it by magnet, or you can do what we did with the voltmeter to dictate the direction of flow by layer. And it depends in what you want to use the system for. This is what you have, because I know I was, Elia has spoken to me about you and your work. You're a young scientist. I'm partially aware of what you're doing through Elia. What you got to realize is that don't look at the nano layer. Understand that the nano layer is a large number of batteries stacked on top of each other. And this stacking creates a capacitance. Because you look at just the dark material on your copper, which was shiny and copperish, and now it's black. For it to become black, it's like putting millions of footballs equal distance from each other in a space of a container. The gaps between one layer of one set of balls creates its own gravitational magnetic field in respect to the gap of another 10 balls further down in the same container. So you create a spectrum. You create a spectrum of magnetic fields which are in every direction. With a magnet, you make them all one directional according to ion and its electrons potential level. So all you do, you realign the matter level energy of the electron which comes to that level. And that's why you get a flow in one direction. You literally you put a standard, and everything has to be in this direction and has to be equal to electron field strength. You don't monitor the energies which are above electron and below electron. And because you dictated the direction of flow, this is what you have with the magnet. You dictate the direction of flow. We do
That
this
was the
quite a lot.
idea, actually.
Yes, so you've proven the concept to be correct. This is what we use a lot in medical application. If you look at the star formation, we dictate the direction of flow not with magnets, but by rotating all the 4 reactors in anti-clockwise.
I have one more question. In
Yeah.
one of my reactors, I have nano brass plus aluminum, and in the water I can see two kinds of materials. One material is on the bottom and it looks like dust, and the other material is in a cloudy shape. It's like a cloud. And I wanted to ask
Can you
if this cloud shape
can you explain what you see? I didn't understand.
I
One
see.
one.
I have one material is on the bottom, like CO2, like dust. I mean, I can
Okay.
see that it's in car,
Yeah. What you
and
see is
the
not a
other,
CO2. Stop. What you see is not CO2.
not CO2. I mean just the form.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a whitish, milkish color.
yes,
Okay, this is aluminium nano guns. This is aluminium
and
nano guns. Do not touch it. If you wear a couple of gloves and touch it, it feels like a talcum powder. It feels like oil. It's a special texture, and is highly desirable in certain kind of space technology. I'll explain later on. Okay, what do you see? The other one?
the other one is the same color, but it's like a cloud. It's like a cloud of the material. And I was wondering
It's
if
like
this is
what?
gas or if it's just the material. It's like a cloud in the water. It's not in any shape, but just stay together like smoke in the water. I don't know how to.
Oh, it's a cloud. Yeah.
Cloud,
This
yes.
is yeah. This is when you get this condition. This is to do because of the aluminium. Is the aluminium and if you good morning, our Bulgarian delegation arrived. Elia is here. It's your friend Manuel from Bulgaria. Ask a question. Um, the 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 cloud you have because you had a nano copper, what do you call it, brass and aluminium.
It was nano
The
brass, not nano copper. Nano brass.
you had a brass, but you know what brass is made of. It's got copper content. So
Okay.
you have mixed the aluminium with the CO2, and that's what is a cloudy mixture looks like.
So this is actually not GANs.
It
It's
is
something
GANs.
that is
It's
a
a
process
mixture
to
of
be GANs.
no. The cloudiness of it is because it's mixture of two ganses, and there are more distance between the ganses. That's why.
So if I extract it and I wash it, it's going to keep the same shape? or
Yes,
they're going
should
to
do.
separate?
Yes, should do, but you'll find out it's more cloudy. I've had this, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I've developed this material for a specific reason. The cloudiness is a mixture of two, and the milkish, it's a very white milkish bottom, the one you have. That is, if you test it, no, don't taste it, but if you test it, it feels like a cream. It's like a Nivea cream. It's not a gas as you are used to. It can actually stick to the wall. It's a very creamish material. This is a GaNs of aluminium. It has a huge applications. I will teach you in the future how you can use GaNs of aluminium and what you can use it for. But it's something you better don't touch.
Yeah, I try not to touch it.
Okay.
I do
This
my
is the
best.
question. This is the question I asked. If the vegetation or the cabbages in China were used, and if anybody eats them, would they have two horns and two tails? Because now we can't just produce material and see the change. We got to enter very soon in a position of what does it do? Does it affect us, or it becomes part of our? One thing interesting is talking about this. It's a deep thought, but you will understand why I'm bringing it up now. Man ate other animals and picked up the behavior of the animals. Now that we produce vegetation and what we've seen, fruits, which work through the GaNs technology or spaceship program technology, which they take what they need as they need, would by consuming it, man become the same and we find our salvation from our animal behavior. So, as I explained to you the change between the Indians and Pakistanis in the past programs, how by consuming more meat, we've seen the change of the feature. Now that we start using GaNs as a food, which is a process of natural balance, would our behavior will be the way change? Is food should be a way that we find a salvation for man from his animal behavior of killing. They say you choose a dog which looks like you and behaves like you. Would we eat vegetation, or we consume food which gives us the serenity and the calmness that comes with a balance in technology? Aluminium is one of the materials which reaches that point, but man has to understand how and the way it's got to be done. Look at the texture and the way aluminium GaNs feels and behaves. Is very much the same as the milk of the mother. If you store it, it will even sometimes smells the same. I know what I'm talking about.
I know. It's just what I found funny.
Yeah, it is what it is. But would by consuming CO2, we let our animal behavior disappear in distance? My answer is yes. But it's for man to brave enough to change it. Next question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have we finished for today?
Yeah, hey, Mr. Keshe, this is Brett.
Just looking here to see if there's any more questions. Oh, hi, Brett.
I just had a question about the water when it turned into a clear gel. What is that exactly?
is magnetized water. It's what they call not magnetized, but plasma sized. It's the liquid in your lung. It's not water, it's jellyish.
Okay.
Yeah. When are we seeing you, Mr. Brad?
Next week.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next week. Our openness goes beyond, as you know, the American, as they have advertised it themselves, are coming to the center from the military, and Brad is with the group. Any other question?
I have one more about I'm building these reactor setups. I gave Rick some pictures of some of the stuff I did already, but I'm concerned about the iron black GaNs since it's magnetized with Earth's fields. Is that going to cause a problem?
No.
Okay.
Not the beyond Earth atmosphere.
All right. I'll see what I can do then.
Thank you. Let me explain something. Brad is doing a lot of work in the background in regarding governmental and military and scientific organization with the foundation. And I thank you for all your hard work you've done.
It's my pleasure.
You're welcome. Any other question? I think we can finish today early, an hour and a half.
I'm
Is there any
showing-
other questions in GoToMeeting?
I'm just showing Brett's reactor on the live stream there now, so that folks can see it. It's a beginning of his reactor. It shows a electric motor with a GaN's sphere underneath there. And I think he's going to have 8 altogether, is the way I understand it. Is that correct, Brett?
I can have 9 right now. 4 on the bottom,
Well-
4 on top, and then 1 I can move around independent easily.
Why
just-
don't you make it? Why don't you make it 17 or 16? Then you have a behavior. Then you have behavior of a molecule.
Yeah.
If I could
good
get
point.
more motors, I can. The things I bought the motors with, they came in packs of 4 connected, so I bought 2 of them, and then I had 1 extra one, so that's why I have 9.
Ask your friends. Your friends can give you a few more.
I'm sure.
What molecule would be 9?
No,
Number
you
9.
need. What happens? You. Let me explain to you. Take this into a scientific knowledge. When you have a set of 4, then you create 1 free plasma. You change the matter into a free condition. When you have 8, now you have created 2 free plasmas. And now it's not your 8 reactors which they interact, it's the 2 free plasma conditions. If you set 2 star formations separate from each other, you have changed the matter into a free plasma. Very much the body of the man and the soul. Non-tangible condition, but collection of the totality of from the others. So when you have 16, you see and you can change each one. Let's say it's a, if you make 1 set with the oxygen, and when you make 1 set with carbon, and you make 1 set with nitrogen, and the other one with hydrogen, which in the very near future you'll be able to do, then you see the true behavior of the plasma of molecule of amino acid. Then once you do that, which is one of the targets we are aiming for with these small miniature reactors, then you can mimic any amino acid anywhere in the body of the man to reverse it, and you give it a standard. So what you do, you create, let's say, the CO2, you put in the 4 reactors. Now the free plasma you create, it becomes the essence of a matter, but in a free level. So you understand the position of that plasma in that free plasma behaves as what you have put in there, plus what they can be given to a level. Then you do with other 4 sets. Then you create the essence of the hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and oxygen, and then you have the structure of the amino acid. If you can go to 16 and create sets separately, and then to understand that the oxygen as a set, the stronger one, if you can measure the field, ask your military guys to give you the system, they can do it very easily. You put the strongest on the top to become the control of balance. But the one thing you have to realize, even though you put the reactor, as we call it, principal reactor, on the top, if you look at it in any direction, the reactors are all on the top. And this is very important to understand. The only condition which is dictating which side is the top is the direction and the strength of your belt at the moment with the copper oxide or nano oxide in the center of your cores on the equator. So if you change all the reactors in a different direction equator, your bottom left becomes the top. This is what happens in a gaseous condition when the graphite changes into a diamond. It's the same plasma, but you change the orientation of it, and you get a different property, different strength, different what we call Coulomb's barrier. If the world of science and scientists who are people like you who do these tests understand this, then you build, this is what we were going to do here with some of the reactors, to put them on the revolving bearings that we could change. Then you will see your plasma in the center, your imaginary plasma, free plasma, will start changing from let's say carbon. We're doing nothing else, we're just changing the position of your cores. They start behaving like a diamond. This is what is called orientation of the crystal lattice orientation in matter level. And you'll find out your cores will behave the same. This is part of the knowledge, which slowly we'll explain. In a deep space, when you enter heavy matter condition, shielding by layers sometimes does not work. All you do, you change the orientation of your reactors according to the media you're in. So you become resistance to the media. You become like a diamond which cuts diamond. A lot of people think in the diamond business you cut diamond with diamonds. Actually, in a diamond cutting business, you cut diamond with a very, very, very fine, thin copper blade. A lot of people say you cut diamond with diamond. No. In the diamond business, we use diamond powder for polishing and that kind of thing. But when you have a stone as diamond, when you put it on a machine to cut the surfaces, you use a very fine copper. Don't ask me how I used to be in that business. I know exactly what I'm talking about. So you change the diamond, the copper, due to its orientation, gains a certain strength that can even cut into diamond. So in deep space, when you enter materials, let's say you want to cross, it's possible. You will see in the future, our race will do it in a very easy way. You can cross the center of planetary system, even though you're a solid, what they call it, material. All you do is changing the strength of the field does not give you that much run. But you change the orientation of your reactors, the field changes your material in the strength of the matter you're going through, but like a diamond you cut through, like a blade of the copper. These are all to be learned. We teach them. I explain this to them, I don't know which knowledge, because they were here. You just put your, because we have access to orientation, what do you call it, bearings. We can orientate bearings slightly. It's because we put them in a cage and we can lock it. In carrying, what do you call it, plasmatic.
So, Mr. Keshe,
cores, do it. Yeah. Yes.
I'm just trying to relate this to what has been seen visibly by a lot of people on the bright lights in the sky, how sometimes they can appear to go through the Earth. This would be what you're talking about. They're changing their orientation and then able to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, the thing is, this goes back into why we start teaching and working with gas reactors originally. And then we went now into the gas reactors. And as I explained in our Chinese teaching, for those who did not listen to it, is that the original gas reactors, which are running in the, or working in the background in the original lab, and all the reactors you saw, those are the copies of planetary system. They have layers, they have matter layers. Where now with the gas system, we have become into the star formation, which means we do not have a physical separation layer. We have a separation layer by the magnetic gravitational field, the center of different gases. The way you have done and you showed us last week, where you change the gas of the copper with the CO2, you mix them, and they stay separate because of their field strength. So this is what happens in the center of the stars. In center of stars, we don't have like Earth what we call solid core, which I don't believe in, as I explained before. In solar systems, the stars have literally spheres of different gravitational magnetic fields of hydrogen, or actually neutron, because it's not a hydrogen as a proton. It's a hydrogen, it's a pre-neutron electron state. So you get layers of different strength, which rotate over each other like a ball inside a ball. But these balls each are hundreds of thousands of kilometers thick, and they have their own gravitational magnetic field. Yours, in your reactor, is a few micron or few millimeters, and they interaction and rolling over each other forces due to magnetic field positioning, as I explained why, for example, why Venus is going the clockwise and then anti-clockwise, because of the field forces in the solar system. In this magnetic field plasma balls in the star system, because of different layering, different layers force some of the layers to move in the opposite direction, not necessarily clock and anti-clock. They even move east to west and north to south and whatever, because it depends what the fields are. And because of the change in orientation of motion, they create a friction and they create a interaction, opposite polarity with other layers. That's why stars have such a huge gravitational magnetic field, because of these layers interact in different ways and push some to go one way or another. So with a GANS technology, which you have entered, is a physical condition of a star system without what we consider to be a solid state in the core of the Earth.
Mr. Keshe, on the live stream now, I've got a picture that John Francois took, which is a time-lapse picture of several hours and even up to days, and some of his pictures of GAN's reactors, and the amazing swirling patterns that are taking place inside. In this one picture, we have one container on top of 3 other containers, so it's the basic star configuration that you're speaking of, and the swirling that goes on inside is actually quite incredible. I've got another close-up movie I'll put on here that shows it. He has another image here showing the he's got nano-coated copper wires inside the solution, and also some zinc, and this somehow creates this rotational flow. But the interesting thing, I think, as you can see in this movie, do you have your live stream? Are you able to see this?
Yeah,
now?
we're watching it. We're watching
Okay.
it, yeah.
I'm bringing up, it'll take a few seconds to go through on the live stream here. And let me just reset this, this one clip here. I'll zero in on the actual flow that you can see. And it's quite incredible, I think. Okay, so now if you look at the upper yellow, the top of the upper yellow container, you can see it rotating, but it goes in cycles. It's sort of like a heartbeat or like a breathing thing. It rotates counterclockwise, just exactly like you were just saying. The middle one is counterclockwise, but it rotates and then it stops, and it actually goes backwards a little bit and then goes counterclockwise again. So counterclockwise, a little bit clockwise, and then counterclockwise again. And it does that in a 10 to 15 minute cycle. We see it quickly here because this is sped up time lapse, but it's actually a 10 or 15 minute cycle of this rotating. And that seems to cause a counter rotation in the lower containers as well, that match the upper rotation and goes in the same direction of it basically, but because they're below, they counter rotate. It's quite a curious phenomenon. I don't know if you can see it well on the live stream there.
We lost the SSI, Rick.
Oh, we always seem to at those critical moments. Okay.
Hey, Rick, when he comes back.
At the critical talking about it moments,
I just got an idea about, is maybe the sun rising and setting changing causes the polarity change during the day? I don't know.
It's already 10 or 15 minutes, so that's
okay. I thought this was like an all day long thing. I didn't know that.
We are back. Can you hear us?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. No, we've seen this this pattern originally in the first GANSes we produced in the box. You could see the channels, magnetic field channels. This is normal. You create field flow channels, and now you see it physically. You see it clearly, and how the fields are created and how fields are added. This is beautiful, but it's something we have seen. This is something, these flow channels, but it's good if you can mix like copper and CO2 and still do the time lapse and see what the channels give us. If one goes in one direction and the other the other. Let me see the better quality. These guys.
Yes, I believe Jean-Francois will be doing some more experiments with that. He was quite amazed by it, and so are we.
Yeah, it's very nice. There is something we have. Let me say something because it's it's important. Um, Talking about these flows and magnetic field flows and plasmatic flow, these flows are plasmatic. Is not a field as one thing. So now you see a full structure of the plasma flow. And it's very interesting because if you look very closely into the surface of the water in the distance, you see the motion on the water too. So it's a physical interaction. Don't look at the mist, but look at the water surface, which is trying to show. You see the flow from the top of the water as well. These fields dictate the condition and how the matter will behave when it's inside, and how it will represent itself, and how will interact with other things. Going on the same line, there's something interesting because I received a link from Rick during the week, which in a way confirmed our process in Fukushima. That the Iranian scientists in the University of south of Iran, southeast of Iran, have confirmed absorption or reduction in the uranium. Have you got that link, Rick?
I'll bring it up here, Mr.
Yeah.
Keshe. There's
Yeah.
another interesting pulsation thing going on there now in
Yeah.
the live stream. You'll see. Yeah, let me find that.
Yes, I see it. This is how heartbeat comes. This is how you have a heartbeat.
That's the
It
exact
has a
name.
rhythm.
That's the name of this video that JF did actually.
Yeah, it's a heartbeat. It has its own life, and it creates its own life. This is how life starts, and this is what we know. We've seen this.
Okay, here's the story of the. It's called Nano-Technology Now, and it's about Iranian experts clean uranium-contaminated water by nanoparticles. And in this case, they used a zinc oxide nanoparticle, and they found it very effective.
It's a 90-something% cleanup.
Yes, I think it was something like that.
It's on the paper. If you open it up, it's actually on the paper. It gives you a percentage of 90-something%. If you read it, it's a percentage put in somewhere in one of the paragraphs. This paper is published, I think, when is it? This year, recently.
It was just came out in the last in November 23rd, so it's 4 days ago.
So this confirms what we showed. They've used the same procedures we did, for example, with the mesh in the container and passing the water, contaminated water in Fukushima, or adding the GANs into it. And this is a university paper published where we use the GANs of it, and that's when the radiations, we absorb the reduction in radiation. This is the property of the gamma radiation, which links up. It's not absorption, the material is still there. We know from the research from the University of South Sierra Leone that you do not destroy materials. I think you need battery. You link the material to something else. This is one of the problems that we see with this technology, that when we have to train and we are explaining to the scientists, they say there's something wrong. We see the radiation reduction, but the material is still there, so it has to be still radioactive. All you do, you link up with it. This is actually in the report of Italian Nuclear Center. We still see the material, but we don't see the radiation. And this is something in Raman spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy and biological tests and material tests has caused a lot of problem with this new science. And now we see scientists in Iran using it, have confirmed what we shown months ago in Fukushima, that this material reduces or absorbs uranium. It doesn't absorb uranium, is still there, but it links up with it. And it's the same process as a virus, as we explained. Now we see the correctness of the founding of the foundation months ago and years ago when we announced these things are possible, and we showed it in Fukushima about 2 months ago with Ebola in Africa. And strange enough, it comes out of Iran. Yeah, I have to explain something to you a lot of people don't know. Iran is one of the leading countries in nanotechnology. The reason for it being so powerful is the support of His Excellency, the Iranian ambassador to Moscow, Mohammad Sajjadi. He is a nano specialist technologist. He was advisor to His Excellency President Ahmadinejad, and he was one of the instigators and supporters of me returning back to Iran for the space program, over Iran spaceship program. The ambassador, His Excellency, is highly involved in promotion of nanomaterials and nanotechnology in Iran. He's a highly respected scientist, and I had the pleasure of meeting him and negotiating for my return to Iran. And all these advancements in nanotechnology comes through a lot of work with Mohammad Sajjadi in Iran.
Mr. Keshe, right now I've got up on the screen another news item I meant to send to you, which came out on November 22nd, it's just a few days ago, from Tehran. And it's about the third Iran proposed nano standard approved now by the International Standard Organization. So what's happening is Iran has actually set the standards that are being approved by all these member countries, including the United States, Germany, South Africa, Australia, Britain, Brazil, China, Switzerland, Singapore, Russia, Japan, France, Canada, the Republic of Korea, Poland, and Malaysia, Mexico, India, and the Netherlands. These countries got together in this 17th meeting of the International Nanotechnology Standardization Committee. And guess who's leading it? It's Iran. So they have a very big clout in the nanotechnology sector.
Iran is extremely strong, and a lot of it came through during the time of Mohammad Sajjadi. He's done a lot of work on this level, and he's a great supporter. And these are flag bearers of the nanotechnology, the nuclear technology, and the spaceship program. So, as now what we've been telling for some time is that Iran scientists at a very high level have merged the three together. And as you see the performance of 229 Tesla from nanomaterial in the GaNs state, these are what is achieved and is achievable now, which is dream in the world of science, but it's a reality. The way, in a very subtle way, has been encouraged with the encouragement of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran. He is a great advocate of new science and technology beyond the present level, and now we see it. And you'll see more and more as now that the doors of the sanctions, so-called, are opening up. The Iranian top scientists and researchers will open up, and you will see how and why these negotiations has been done in such a tight way. It's the knowledge which sits within Iran amongst the scientists. We've seen this, the same program, the same kind of internal development of science when South Africa was isolated. They developed technologies for them to survive this condition which was enforced on them, and they came out in a lot of ways with new technologies. And now we see the same thing. It's not a surprise, this, because I've been involved and been part of this development, and I understand it fully. There it is, 94.5% of uranium from different aquatic environment has been cleaned up, been extracted. So this is what we showed with the GaNs material, understanding the nanomaterial are solid state. GaNs is in the plasma state and is more powerful. So this is another confirmation of the work which we did in Fukushima and now in Africa with Ebola. Any other questions? We are expecting our China,
Hello.
what do you call it, this company.
Yeah, there is another question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Vince, yes, what's the question?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello,
Hello, we
hello,
can
hello,
hear you.
hello, we can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Mr. Cass, it's nice to see you. I'm feel very excited to talk with you. I'm from China. My English name is Tony. My question is, the CO2 gas can provide energy to the plants. So if the gas can also provide energy to the human body, if we wear some ornaments with filled CO2 gases, such as necklace, bangle, and so on, is it for the human body can obtain magnetic magnetic field energy from the ornaments with CO2 gases?
Your body does, and the only thing is what we asked you or we requested is please allow the standards to be set how much, when, and in what condition, and what dosage these can be used. CO2 is one of the huge main sources of energy for human consumption in the coming time. But you got to realize, to be able to do these things, you have to attach them to amino acids that, because they enter at a certain balance, they create that balance in the body. CO2s in a gas state as energy to be used for medicine, it's the ultimate. Or gases, not necessarily CO2. You'll find out CH3, which is a basic sugar, which is what we have produced and confirmed years ago, is the essence of this initial sugar essence of life. It just needs, as by accident, as Rick just showed us, they standardize the nanomaterial. In a coming time, we have to standardize the consumption, the level, and with which amino acid these materials, gases can be attached to, that they'll give us certain effects. If you go back to my talks and my papers years ago, I wrote that we will not carry food to space because the man will be the source of his own supply of food, energy, by breathing the CO, by breathing oxygen or energy fields and giving back to the man, or in the space of the craft, the CO2, which you have seen how we have changed it, or you can change it to matter. Now it's matter of giving it the odor and taste. What you breathe out as CO2, you call it, becomes your own food as a tangible level, in the level you need it. There is a huge progress needed to be done in understanding that here on Earth, we absorb a spectrum of energies from our environment according to the air and where we are. In the space, the crafts are mono energy, near enough. Mono means single energy because you are isolated totally from outside environment. On Earth, we receive different magnetic field strength from the sun, from the moon, from the planet, from plants, from water. In a mono environment, you need a spectrum to be able to support life. So this mono, what do you call it? Singularity field will be harmful. And your body with actually breathing out the energy, whatever you want to call it, as a strength of the CO2, each time, each different cell in your body creates different field CO2 or energy that becomes, you call it CO2. All the, what you exhale is not all the same thing. So with the same proportion, what you exhale becomes different CO2 strength for you to become the food for your digestion system. In a way, your brain circulation, your blood, dictates what your digestion system for physicality needs and can be absorbed. So you become your own recycling machine. This is the only way we can support long-term life in space. We absorb, we extract certain amount of fields from the environment. We give some back, and at the same time, the human body becomes, from its emotional part, which is the red blood cells or circulation, what it gives out as energy not needed can be used, will be used to produce the solid matter like guns, because what you breathe out as energy is a gas. We convert it back to a gas and we feed it through for the digestion system. So in the reality, you never run out of food because you are the source of your own food. At the moment, in a space technology bit like NASA, they clean up the CO2 to create hydrogen, different kind of filtering. But in the spaceship program, you provide energy if you need a certain given level to the lung, that it gives you what it needs. Actually, body tells you through your breathing what is surplus, so then what is needed. And then you convert it back into solid food for your digestion system, because without digestion system, the physical part cannot exist. So the emotional part, which is through blood circulation and what you breathe in as energy, becomes the supply for the physical part, and then now it becomes a second leech. It still feeds the leech for itself to survive. This is a well practiced technology in the deep space, so it's not something new. You don't carry all the food with you. You carry and you top up energy.
Mr. Keshe, I
from
think
the
he was.
ocean. Yes.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Our guest from
Just had a
China
little bit delay.
arrived. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
Perfect.
Our guests have just arrived. Just 1 second. As we said, our friends from China just arrived. I'll give the microphone for them to introduce themselves, as is our tradition. Carry on, Wins.
I was just saying that that person was asking about having CO2 GANs inside of a trinket.
Inside of what?
A trinket, like a necklace or a
locket, you mean?
A locket.
A locket, yeah.
Yeah. You can
with that.
A lot of people carry arsenic in it and cyanide, huh?
But if you carried that, would you receive stronger magma fields due to the CO2 GANs that you have near and close to your body?
Maybe, but we have tested.
I could see it if it was a reactor. If it was connected to a reactor, that would be fantastic.
Fantastic. You become the 9th one. No, but we have tested gas materials in the health section some times ago, and it has very, very specific effects. I don't mention it because some people go and try it, but the use of gas material in the health section as a matter plasma is well tested with us. We know a lot of details about it. We know how you can, in a specific setting and condition, you can reverse cancer within 3 to 5 minutes. Cancer tumors will literally don't exist after a few minutes. I have tested this, I know exactly how it works, but you have to understand when you do such a change, you release vast amount of energy which is not desired by the body into the bloodstream. Then you cause another problem. If it's done in a controlled basis, yes. There is a, as I said, we open the doors as we go further. What you do, you transfer, because it has to be done in a star formation condition. But it's done in a different way. You can use the GANs, for example, for a skin cancer. Within a matter of minutes, there is no cancer. But it needs a deep understanding of the science, because if you do it and you try it, you increase the cancer spread of it very rapidly. Because what it is, if you don't organize the full A to Z from the beginning to the end, the cancer cells, exactly what we saw with, what's his name? He just showed out the drilled hole. Lucian. Yeah, Lucian showed us you transfer the cancer cells from one point to another, so you spread it very rapidly. You create a faster death. But if you use the knowledge in the correct way, and you allow certain plasmas to release into the bloodstream and to the body that it can be absorbed and disposed of, you can literally destroy, or actually you don't destroy anything, you convert the plasmatic condition. It's well tested. I have done a lot of research on this.
Right, it can be in a star formation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a spinning reactor, correct?
Not necessarily. Dynamic reactors can be used, but it's much easier this way.
Yeah, I understand.
You can use it, you can, let me explain to you, we done a test some time ago, and it's well used practice, it's not something unknown. You embed the GANs in a capsule like the tablets, you buy, but embedding it in a special capsule which is not digestible, but as the CO2 or GANs passes through your digestion system, it changes it. Or you can use it in a specific conditions as a static position. I was talking about this with Dr. Elia this week when we were talking, that for example for prostate cancer, you insert the system inside in the rectum over the prostate, and within hours the cancer disappears more or less. I have tested this for ovary cancer and what do you call it? Internal cancers. And it works very rapidly, but you have to understand the dosage and how much you change. These are the things which Dr. Elia will expand on in technology development and in the usage of the technology. What you do, because you have to find the right combination, you load your system with it, and you allow it to enter the body, and you hold it where you want until it does the effect. And then the body rejects it because it doesn't change its characteristics, but what it comes out, it has changed the environment where it was. So like a tumor becomes diluted as a liquid or as a gas, and it gets rejected by the body as a normal way. The only problem we have seen in the past with the tumors or positions in the body is because the tumor was there and it was like a lump inflammation, you'll see. And then you have to allow where there was a ball and now there is no ball for the reduction in the inflammation. There is always a pain retraction with it. But that is just because the cavity needs to be closed. We've done a lot of work in this. A lot of, what do you call it, intestine cancers, this is the only way you can change. You allow the body to absorb, to digest, not to digest, to to float this material in the body, and you hold it in this position. You can't hold it. There's a way. You you position like a magnetic shield, magnetic bedding, and when it reaches to that point of the stomach where the tumor is, then the system stops like a magnet. You stop it, and then you allow it to do its work. And when you observe, you release it. You take the magnet away, and the container carries on floating to be rejected as a stool. We'll teach this as the time comes. Our Chinese friends are here. They can tell you they most probably will produce it. It's cheaper than. I introduce you who's here. Mr. Abdullahi is here with us from China. Just 1 second, I'll give you the phone. You introduce yourself. And we have Abea, Mr. Abea from Canada. They just arrived from China, and we're trying to collaborate with them to produce your systems, what you need in China, and in collaboration with the Japanese and the Italian groups. I hand over, let them introduce themselves. First of all, you're welcome. They just landed. They're still half asleep, I think.
Hi, Evans.
Hello to the Chinese contingent.
Yeah, Rick, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Good to hear you. Oh, we know that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Sohail. We're from Omega Quantum. And we're here now with Mr. Keshe and his group to hopefully start producing and gain momentum in this movement.
Well, now that you're there, hopefully you'll be able to learn right from the source, right?
Yes.
Can we get a little more microphone on
Okay.
on there, please?
Is this one or this one? Both? Let's hold them like that.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you guys have any requests, as I mentioned before, just ask. You know, we had the source in China. It's cheap over there. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Again, directly from the source.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. And to learn, and it brings us forward. And share.
I can give you some suggestions about the CO2 kit.
This is Ludmil. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm born in Iran. I grew up in Germany. Then I moved to China, get out of the system. I raised my own company, and now I was looking for manifest my dreams I had as a kid, and this was getting off this planet. And yeah, I came to find Mr. Keshe, and I think it's everything to the right time.
Evans Abela here. I was born in Haiti. I moved very early to Canada, and I studied there in engineering. I've been working many years in Canada as a consultant, and also at the same time researching on new energy. And I joined Omega Quantum 6 months ago with Sohei and 2 other folks. And we are very proud to be here today, first of all, to learn, and then second of all, to see how we can participate in this tremendous movement that we see coming up.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any questions? No, you can't have your reactors tomorrow.
We have a lineup for personal requests, I think, for reactors. I think we'll have a lineup for reactors, yes.
Sorry, just just waiting for the delay. So the CO2 kits, you guys are going to start producing that directly from there. So they can be ordered online and receive them just like anything else that is produced nowadays in China. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, we changed a bit up the design. We made it more simpler. Um, so you don't have to use utensils like a syringe or stuff like that. We use
Hmm.
valves and two boxes on top of each other. The first box is funneled, so all the guns will sit in the lowest point, and so you just open the valve and it goes in the second box. And it's very easy to
Hey,
produce.
Rick, didn't we talk about that before?
I
That was a good
absolutely.
idea, I think.
I've been looking at valved containers lately. Yes, I think that is the way to go. It's excellent.
Yeah, and especially because we will ship out to China. I think shipping out from here is a problem, as I saw shipping just simple books. But there's no problem shipping from China to any client in this world. So I think that's a good step for everybody.
I
And
can give
hopefully
you some
we,
other suggestions, but we
yes,
can discuss this later if you want.
yes, Ludmila, please carry on.
No, that's okay. We can discuss it private later. That's fine.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. And I still remember the 9 sensor sync and the software with JF, so we can have real-time 3D imaging. This is something which is important, I think, to give people better understanding what is a magnetic field, what is a gravitational field. Mm,
Oh, that's another thing which we will discuss again. So
yeah,
we gotta have lots of work with you guys.
yeah. There's a lot of work waiting, but no pressure, just pleasure, as Mr. Cash once said.
Pressure is only for the pressure cookers.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is no pressure in plasma.
yeah. There's no pressure.
But is there pleasure? There seems to be.
It seems to be yes, yes. Any more questions regarding China?
I'm the
The Sorry,
yeah,
Ludman.
sorry. Usually I'm the one which makes people's life miserable, so don't worry about it.
Yes, you do sometimes.
I'm sure we'll have. I'm sure we'll have more questions and requests for specific materials and parts and so on that you might be able to obtain in China to help us experimenters do our thing. And
Sure.
I'm sure we'll have an information exchange as well as we go along. Sounds
Yeah,
really
especially
exciting.
yeah, especially when things
Have you
getting
guys been in
smaller.
contact with the China group? With the other
We
China group?
no, we are not. We don't know. We would ask first for permission if we can, but we're independent. We're very fast. I mean, we're putting things together very fast. If the Chinese need help, we can help them. Um,
Yeah,
I
the
think there's a
Lisa's
problem
asking.
for the
So
yeah, there's a problem for the Chinese. Let's say Chinese brain. No, I don't want to say that. To get that full idea of the plasma and where it's been heading to towards conscious and gives you, this technology also enlightens people. And this is where the problem gonna come up with the Chinese. You have to educate them in that direction. So you need like bright-minded, maybe overseas Chinese, which then introduce it to the Chinese again. But yeah, the Chinese go where the money goes. So if there's a good product, they will catch up and it will set on fire and it can't be stopped. So that's the plan actually.
Exactly.
well, I
Yeah.
see a lot of people there in China, though. They have an open-mindedness regarding other forces or other things beyond the material universe. So, to me, the the enlightenment happens to people that are open-mindedness to be able to see that that new information, the new understanding that will come to them as in enlightenment. So the Chinese, you know, it depends, I guess, where you are and who you speak to there, because there is so many other people that you find the people that actually have that spark or that open-mindedness to be able to understand what's happening. So that will be a quite a I think awakening for a lot of people, especially in China, when you know when they do understand that what they've been taught previously is in fact correct.
Yeah, it's hard to find those kind of people in big cities in China. The problem is Chinese culture got wiped out. They burned all the books with the when Mao came. So right now it's just capitalism, pure capitalism. And I know what you're referring to Qi, and you know, the whole picture. There are very few I met which really believe in that, you know. It's more like you go to a temple, you pay some money to the Buddha, and you hope you get some luck. This is right now where China is. But as I see the vision, I think we can get the Chinese back on track with this technology if it works out.
Well, it'll come about the other way too, right? So if they're in it for the capitalism and they start creating or even building this, you know, even the workers that are building the products will have to question of what is actually happening here.
Exactly.
Which again goes to that open-mindedness is, you know, if so many of these things are being built and being ordered, then what am I missing that I'm building these things or I'm
Yeah.
selling these things or I have to describe these things, right? It's all about that one spark in you that says, well, what is actually happening here? That willingness to learn, I think is a big question.
This is also where it's a bit of a problem because, you know, China is a large country, a lot of people, and they manage to control those people very well. So we have to, if this technology works the way I think, then we have to get good partners in China, because the Chinese, it's the last thing the Chinese government wants, the population to be enlightened, you know, because it's based on cheap worker, it's based on slavery, let's say, you know. You have something to say? And we have to get them there step by step, but we must get them to ask for it first before we give it to them. You know, we must give solutions for problems.
Right, that's all over the world right now. There's always these problems, and I think we have the solution. We just need to develop it.
Yeah, and this is how it goes.
People are waking up all over the world in every culture, I think, at this point. So it's almost as if any place on the planet is fair game for these new concepts to take root.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. It can't be stopped, but it's just a matter of time. And I think speed is the most important. The CO2 units. Well, if we agree on a design, we have the plastic mold in 2 weeks, and from there, it can, yeah, let's say latest in a month. Yeah. I mean, through all the problems and the fine stuff, because there are gonna be some problems. We're gonna have a valve, and the valve have to be tight and fit. That's the only problem I see. Then Mr. Cash mentioned that for some standards you need to have a grid on the top, so you can't put your finger in there. Yeah, but these are little things. It's basically
Right, it's just the details.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you're going to be selling these on Alibaba, correct?
We have different projects. I mean, we need to create a movement. The thing here is, it cannot just be the CO2 kit. It must be a product follow up the CO2 kit, you know.
Right, exactly.
So, and then when we have these two products, we can create a movement. I mean, we can put it on Kickstarter. A lot of people will buy it. You know, it's easy.
Oh, yes.
We just need to have the second application after the CO2 kit, and it will sell itself. You know, it's fun. I mean, the kids will understand it fast, and this is a technology for the new generation, and they will play around and they will do their own thing. They will take it to the next level. Yeah, we just watch.
Especially the healing thing that we can apply to some countries, especially I'm thinking about Haiti, where people has
Well, as long as my kid builds me my own spaceship, then I guess that's all that matters.
Good one. Yeah.
doctors. We are linked to the Association of Doctors, Asian doctors around the world, and I believe that such a solution would be something very interesting to them. We are very close to them. And yes.
As I said, when you open the door, we show you the way, or you show the way, we tell you where to go. First of all, you're talking about E. coli. We released a paper very soon in conjunction with the South University of Sierra Leone that the use of CO2 literally eradicates the whole of E. coli, 99%. It's been done, tested by university in the past 4 weeks, so we have the knowledge. You can literally sell a unit that can be sold for that kind of businesses. So that is not a lot. Can we go on a common share camera by any chance, Rick? Because I opened the camera, but it doesn't accept. It comes up. No, can you see my hand?
Not getting an image coming
No,
through.
the camera's not on.
The camera is not on. How do we
No,
go?
it's not rotating or going around yet.
Where do we go? Can you put it on? How do you put it on?
You guys see my
It's
screen?
on. We
Everything
can.
okay?
I can
Yeah.
see my hand on my screen, but I don't know what you don't see. Where are you? Change the profile.
You'll probably have to select in your Skype preferences, I think. Are you on a Mac
Okay.
or PC there?
We are on Mac.
Okay, well, you have to go to Skype
No.
preferences.
We are on HP. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then tools and options.
Yeah, we set that up. It's been set. We're there.
And then, okay, so after you set the video settings, yeah, you can see yourself in that video settings, right?
We already see ourselves. We are very ugly, but you can't see us. Okay. Is it coming up?
And then at the bottom, after you close out of the options, no, not yet. Make sure you click on the video button. Make sure there's not the slash through.
We've been there. We've done that.
Rick, try to turn your video on first before. Remember, we had the same problem when you turned yours on. Then his worked.
Yeah.
Change the profile. We are there. Anyone can see. It says webcam setting. We done that. Logitech. We have done that. We had it yesterday. I don't know why you don't see it today.
Rick's work.
Hi, Rick. We see you.
Yeah. See you.
But you can't see our video.
Yeah, there we go.
You're back?
There we go.
Okay, now I tell you what is in plan and what will be done, can be done as a backup, as a follow-up. Tell me if you can see it. You make your CO2 unit. You feed your CO2 at the moment we collect it. Very much like a stacker unit. You collect your CO2, the amount you have, because you need a continuous and you absorb continually. You can feed in the stacker unit equally to little cubicles, which your unit can become your DC supplier. So you organize a system vertical upwards. When you use a continuous supply, your stacker can be used to mix with what they call water for supply to produce vegetables, where the CO2 becomes the feed. So it becomes your fertilizer. You produce what you like around it or through it to feed. Then the whole stacker unit can be used for further application, for medical, for anything else. Because once you produce the CO2 on a continuous basis, you have to do something with it. So people who go to manufacturing, I've discussed this with the Italians too, you from the beginning plan a stacker unit. So each stacker, according to its size, collects and feeds lower or feeds another unit next to it. For medical application, health application, we already know like E. coli and viruses. For the support, we have seen what has happened in China. We need to get the application of if there is no genetic defects on consumption. And for the energy, you just build the battery which feeds from the top continuously. At the same time, when you produce your batteries, there is what you need, a negative seal pressure that you can contain the CO2, or you continuously supply new fresh CO2 into the system. Or you can use a portable one that you can just charge up or load up. There is big ideas of how to do this, but it's just a matter of now that we produce the CO2s, we can use it in a stacker upwards unit. There is a huge application for this process in not using the CO2, but using the protein on the surface. That's where the major food supply will come. On the surface of the CO2, if you do not remove the amino acid, you create a stagnation. And this material is important to be used, and it's a link to all the food demands of a family. It has attachment. If you change your copper plate to another plate like nickel, your zinc, or to other materials, the material containing the amino acid behaves and delivers different thing. You can deliver CH3, which is direct sugar, to the body for food. So if a family has a stacker in one corner, on the top, if it's controlled and we know exactly what is done, what it delivers, it becomes the food supplies become the cow of the house. Because the energy delivered is vast enough to do so. In a system in the future, as I said, was just explaining, you encapsulate it, and if you have a diarrhea or you break infection, you just don't need to add it to your body, but you deliver the effects and properties of it to change condition internally. And at the end, if you like a dynamic system, yes?
Sorry, we're just
Hello?
getting a little bit of a noise in the mic. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, it's two microphones next to each other. It's the life story. So the whole structure is set, but it's just that getting this, it was a major hurdle to get the first system through without getting problems. But those who think that this CO2 kit is the solution, they become a nightmare for a lot of people. The solution is not the CO2, we have to move into CH3, we have to move into copper oxide. Because if, and not, it's not if, this will go very rapidly in the coming time. We see the orders which is coming through internet for us, even with the foundation. Once people start doing this in mass, we will reverse the condition of the environment of this planet, and then we look into new diseases. This all has to be calculated. It's very much, it has to be understood. If 1 billion people have one of each and they extract so much CO2, it should be a position that we put a cap on it and say we don't need anymore. That we bring balance. As I said before in the other talks, it's taken us millions of years to get where we were 100 years ago in conversion of the nitrogen into carbon and oxygen, and the rate of change of nitrogen to carbon and oxygen is constant. It just keeps on adding to it. Partially what the scientists don't understand, the increase in CO2, what they call it, is a current addition of the position of the Earth in respect to the Sun, which upper layer is producing more nitrogen. And coincidentally, we have managed to add to it ourselves. So if we extract too much, the adoption of our body, what we have evolved, will change in a shorter time. So we start seeing new diseases. There has to be a limit, a regulation and observation of how much we extract. Or at the end of when we extract it, if we can return back the carbon from a gas into a gas state, that the plants can exist as well. This is not just trying to do something for the sake of doing it, but it has to have a balance totally.
But it's not just the CO2 is the issue, is that right now we're using the zinc and the copper nano to extract the CO2, but we're just looking for a gradient. So it doesn't matter what we actually extract, as long as we have that gradient with different materials that we're going to be able to extract those different gradients, then we can continuously rotate and not be removing tons and tons of something that we need to have in there and not just eliminate completely. I think a lot of people don't understand that the removing of the CO2 is just as big of a problem as addition of CO2, just like you just talked about.
Yeah, but the thing is, the biggest problem will come immediately, will be respiratory diseases. If we start seeing evolution of new respiratory diseases, means we have extracted it too much. Because we need certain amount of the CO2 in the environment for the plants to live. And as we said in the program before, we don't breathe oxygen. We breathe a cocktail of gravitational magnetic field of oxygen, nitrogen, and even carbon that our lungs transfers the energy. I was explaining this to the Italian who were here last week, that I took them into the garden and I said, if you look at the leaves, all the leaves don't produce the same oxygen of the same strength. It's a cocktail. So the systems you produce has to absorb a cocktail of CO2. At the moment, when you produce all the coppers the same, from the same copper, what do you call it, mine, you will become mono CO2. We have to look in the spectrum of the composition of coppers, that we don't reduce certain strength for certain plants. If we carry on with the same type of the same material, copper, you'll find certain plants around the world will die because they're adapted to that strength. So in a way we kill certain races of plants. Even part of our own lung, which is used to certain strength CO2, will suffer. So one of the points the manufacturers have to follow is that there is a diversity in supply of plates and materials for to reach this point, that we keep a balance. Any other question?
see, there may be another question. We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes into the workshop now. Let's see, I don't see it there now. Can you scroll the chat and see if you can find the question again? Just a second, there was one question I had teed up here from...
Is there any change in this string? Because I'm waiting for something I know.
I don't understand.
Shall we call?
I can't understand the question in the live stream, so yeah. You want to call it a day?
Yeah, I don't have no problem with it. It's just just waiting for Marco. I might have a news for you. Marco is going to check something with the reactor running downstairs. Tomorrow's teaching with the health is to do with ear. If you have a very good listening ear, tomorrow we'll try to explain the application of the ear, why you have ears on your head. And if is there any need for it? We are trying.
For monkeys.
Yes.
And tails for
Hello?
Can't hear you.
I was saying, Mr. Keshe, I was saying tails for monkeys.
Tails for monkeys? No?
Right.
Yeah.
That was just a joke.
Yeah, I got it. I tried not to say anything. We try, if we manage to produce certain type of GANs here this week, and if Armand decides to assemble it, new reactors, but which the reactors don't rotate on their own, but they rotate as a totality. So the star formation, we rotate the environment, then rotating individual cores. And then that will give a very clear indication of the development of what we call molecular structure environment. That'll be very important to reach for the further step in the technology. There is something, if you're watching the live stream, you will one of the reasons we don't expect a high reaction is the reactors being under this new set being on their own in the enclosed environment. The other reactors do not put a demand on the reactor or on the set to release or produce. So the process will be much slower, very much slower, because there are no leakages from outside and there are no demands that the system has to deliver. The high values we saw 2 weeks ago was because the total environment of other 8 reactors were demanding energy, demanding plasma, and this system, because it has a GANs, became the supplier. And we saw the performance in change in the monitors of the internal locked-up core. This in this system, if you'll be watching it for weeks and months to come, hopefully, you will not see huge changes. We're just looking for a position to achieve a new position. So we cover this in detail as it goes, and we'll see what happens. Shall we call it a day for today? It's nearly 3 hours.
You have an incoming call.
Hello? Hello?
I pushed the wrong button there, and we kind of lost things.
Were you trying to tell us goodbye?
I had a
Again.
premature button pushing.
Again.
No problem. We don't see any changes in the live stream. We don't expect any changes in this reactor for at least a few days till it builds up. But the Z
I
has
see.
moved up, and so we know it's live and it's kicking.
Will you be showing the Z measurements on the screen for us, or is that going to be just off on the side?
Do you want to go and show it? It's just a small move. You can see it now. Just give it 2 minutes. It's set on a stand. It's just how Marco will try to do it. Vince, when are you putting your reactors together, your ping pong balls?
Yeah, I'm getting them together. I hope to have it completed this week or this weekend. I have the bases already made. Just have to make my little stand so that I can move it sideways or upside down or whatever I need to do. And then should be good. Fill it and start rotating.
Lucian, is it, or do you have access in your group if we need to do magnetic field position detecting from certain points?
I think I was showing you, if you remember last workshop,
Yeah.
we are trying to build a arm in spherical coordinates. So the sensor will be in the, how to say, in the holding device of that arm, and that will scan spherical, like on the skin of the sphere or in any section you want, inside the star formation or outside. That was the whole purpose of that. So the answer would be yes when it's done.
Well, how long would it take you to build it? Do you need national reserve money or do you need private money?
I mean, to answer you very straight, 5 kilos of gold will be good. But now, speaking seriously, Mr. Keshe, the physicality, I mean, the beams and all that stuff, that should be done in 2 months. The big money is into the servos, the motors, and the electronics. That's going to be a lot of money. I mean, probably.
Oh, you can ask your close friends nearby. They don't mind.
No, seriously, I can use about 5 kilos, maybe 10. So, I mean, to answer your question seriously, the physical build of that, about 2 months will be done. The electronics and the servos, that is going to be really expensive. I mean, speaking of money.
As you see,
it's not going to be funny.
No problem. We know where your reserve comes from. They're generous people.
Not at all.
Marco has just put the monitor on view in the live stream. So we try to adjust it that you can see it better. So if you want to see the fields, it's there. It's been on the side because we don't consider it to be important at the moment. Because as I explained before, in the Chinese, I think, or the Spanish session, if and when you see those black marks on the orange and the green plate in respect to the system moves, we have made history, because never in the world of science position has been achieved without any literally burning of any fuel or any what do you call it, any dynamic condition except plasma. This is me, as I said to Marco.
Rick.
Hello, yeah?
Sorry, Mr. Keshe. I was trying to catch a pause there, but it didn't work. You had a question about the setup of that, did you not? I wanted to make sure that it was completely known of what that setup was, so that they can understand, or people can understand. what's actually happening, like Mr. Keshe is talking about those black marks. Mr. Keshe, can you talk about the pulley system there, just so that everybody is aware of what's actually happening?
Yeah, what we've done, we have removed the weight scale totally, which the system was hanging from in the other lab and initially in this lab. We wanted to know that if we can change the weight, and in the first 2-3 weeks while it was here, we saw yes, the fields are created, that it changes the weight of the system. Then we have moved the load cell, and now we hang it on 2 pulleys. So you see a little dark, like a bumps on the back of the color board. This is how many kilos? Is it 12? 5. Yeah, it's about 13.5 kilogram hanging on that. These are what you do, musclemen use to weight lifts. So we hang it there. It's on 2 pulleys and it goes back to the other unit. Hopefully changes of 100 and 200 gram will not be shown, but if you achieve anything, I think it's half a kilo, isn't it? The system will move. We'll see a change of position of the bottom board on the green plate. So we are looking, if the system go landing, we go below the green and yellow, and if the system loses weight, we see it going towards the blue panel on the top. We are not interested in the fields at the moment because we have not locked the system to produce fields. One of the reasons you saw such a high fields in the past was that the upper plate was locked to the, loosely locked to the whole frame. So when the board or the square or the cubical system could not push any further, this pressure was converted back into the plasma pressure and it was released at high levels. Now we've taken this, so we don't expect plasma releases, very little. But at the same time, we put a detector, as you can see in the background, to measure the field of the plasma which is getting developed on the Z-axis, and it seems to be building up very, very slowly. I think this will take 2-3 weeks if we don't interfere, or if Arman puts copper oxide in the system. What has happened, we're trying to produce massive amount of copper oxide for this system, because whatever we had is left the Keshe Foundation with John. We don't have left, so we have to reproduce it. And then we should have it, as I said to Arman yesterday, go on the internet and ask the knowledge seekers, anybody wants to donate any copper oxide to us, and nobody, if you got a surplus copper oxide, we are gladly receiving as much as you can supply us, that we can do some tests. Or on the other hand, we set up our own system, we'll be producing it in a couple of weeks. We're looking for donation.
Well, this is an important aspect, actually. The donation of copper oxide. If you were going to use that donation, you'd have to use it as a complete batch, correct? Like,
no,
you wouldn't use some.
We can mix it. Copper oxide can be mixed. Then you get a spectrum of the fields.
Okay. Okay.
There's no problem. We have a huge amount of copper oxide sitting in the brain in the boardroom, which is contaminated.
You have an incoming call from 38th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
2 people. Yeah. No,
We back again, Rick?
Yeah, no. That was not you. It doesn't matter. What I was saying is that we have enough copper oxide in the 3-dimensional brain upstairs to use it, but it's been contaminated, as we know, and but we can withdraw it. But it's a matter of going upstairs and handling what is the criminal evidence at the moment. So we have to leave it there till we are. But at the moment, we're trying to produce copper oxide to create a double magnetic field in the cores and for other cores which are sitting here waiting.
That sounds great, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much. So I guess we
No,
should wrap things
no.
up here. Is there any other announcements or things we should
If you
discuss?
have any copper oxide, huge amount you want to donate, we are very willing to receive. It saves us time. And we organize for the shipping to be done. And we'll see what we can do.
And that goes the same for me, actually. Not necessarily copper oxide, if that's what they need at the Spaceship Institute, but some GANs of some sort is. I'm in production, but I have 4 hungry little ping pong balls that need help. They're like little birds in a nest. They have their mouths open. They're hungry.
Actually, Mr. Keshe, maybe this is a good time to bring up do you know which materials with copper oxide, the nano-coated copper, will produce CH3 that we know of? Sure.
CH3 you need, what I've achieved CH3 is galvanized sheets or chicken net. Chicken nets
Okay,
is
so
one of the best.
I've done that as well, and I didn't. I thought that was CH3, but it did take a while to get to that point of getting the orange gas.
Armand keeps on saying iron. He says iron in the background. No, but it's CH. You see,
yes.
That would make sense why it would take so long. Is the galvanized comes off the chicken mesh and the iron gets exposed underneath and would produce the red color. Is that true or no?
But I don't think it's that, because Brett has also said that.
Sorry, you're breaking up there, Vince.
Uses a black GANs.
It's a black GANs. Iron gives you a black GANs.
I said that's right.
Yeah, iron gives a black GANs. We know that.
Okay.
So the galvanized though is different.
Right. Yeah. No. There is a very big difference. If you have a CO2, the start of the creation of the CO2, and you have a copper nano-coated wire, and then you have a slight iron or a steel outside the boundary of the connection, outside the liquid, you start producing a red material, which is a hemoglobin. We know that. It's blood. That's not a CH3. It's a big difference. CH3 is a very orangish, reddish color. It's a specific, because we know it through Raman spectroscopy done in Ghent University, and it's on in one of the books, in the books with the CO2. The red color you get, which comes from the rust, we saw it originally in the boxes here in the lab, and I explained that this is when, pardon? It's ferrament oxygen, and it leads up with the top invisible protein, and it becomes the beginning of the blood. We know exactly what that is. But we produce CH3 where there is no steel, there is no iron. But galvanized chicken mesh creates that environment for CO3. Maybe now that we start asking for CO2 or copper oxide, is somebody to understand that before we even start? Hello, can you hear us? Yeah, because we got in some picture rotating at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to show something here.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, it's your mushrooms.
Yes, there we go.
So Mr. Keshe, that will work with stainless steel as well, because it's having nickel, iron, and chrome.
Chrome, yeah. Actually, chrome is the one which gives you most of the CH3, to our experience. What I was trying to say, now that we are putting an appeal for CO2 or copper oxide, maybe those who are very clever with money and are looking for financial gain, you can start banks of GANs where you collect GANs and you sell it to the other people whether they need it. So Marco says, "Oh, I missed this one."
No, we already started. Gold is no more valuable.
So there is a need for some sort of exchange gas material when you're short of something. Let me explain something what we foresee in the very near future. Depends how near, depends how people work here. As you know, we are located near a lake, and this I chose deliberately with the institute to be near the lake too. There is a possibility that the foundation will move to a new location in a very soon, in a very short time. And the new location is still by the sea. And the reason for being in this position is we will start submerging system technology very soon. And we need... Oh, okay, bye. Have a nice time. Be careful the police doesn't stop you this time. No, but the reason we are on the water, we try to keep the foundation near a waterfront, is for the test which we foresee for submergence. These are essential tests. I know the Iranian government tests are very advanced at this level. So the submergence has to be, they will become the next step in the development. Once we show the lift, as you see where you gain the weight to from 10.6 to 13.8 kilogram, in the reality you submerge. If you fall on the ground, you crush your system. So the new technology is set for this purpose, that we are near the sea. We have already informed the authorities, even here by the lake, that we are looking into submergence tests in the coming 6 months. Because if we leave the structure on the floor and we increase the mass, we'd literally crush it. So we make it waterproof to submerge. And it's well understood by officials around us here in the lake that this test is not this way. This is the next step development. When you saw the system pulling on a load cell to gain by 3.5 kilo, if you increase weight by 3.5 kilo, you damage the system. You literally break it up if it's in a spherical condition. So this was tested. Now we go for the next step in submergence. Anything else?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, I would like to ask what about the frozen material from the beginning of the workshop?
Which material?
I don't know. It was some material in the freezer in the beginning of the workshop. I'm just curious.
Oh, yes, okay. Let me tell you what happened. Because of what the request we put out for copper oxide, not yesterday, before, I asked Armin to do something we done here before, which in this process is not gone the way we expected it. So what happened, we depleted the copper oxide very rapidly from the plate, but as the plate continuously carried on, we start noticing atomic copper, which floats but does not sink. It's atomic copper, and what we wanted to know is if it's in a gaseous state copper or not, or is it just atomic copper. We have managed to produce now atomic copper here in a plasma condition, but not in a gaseous state. So to get a confirmation that it's in a gaseous state, we put the container in the freezer last night. And Armin came back and says, no, it's frozen, it's solid. So the material is atomic copper, which has a lot of applications. It's the first time been done this way. But it's not in the gaseous state that we can use it as a load for one of the reactors. So it's frozen, it's atomic, and it's not in the gaseous state. Gas material does not freeze by nature. Would you like some? No news. Nobody. Okay, no problem.
Who are you addressing in particular? You.
Anybody who's interested, if you want a copper powder in an atomic structure, it's the easiest way to make it.
I would like to hear that, please.
Definitely,
What
it sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
you want to see it?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okay, you gotta wait. You gotta wait 2 minutes. Keep yourself busy. I'll give it to Mr. Abdullah to talk to you.
Hi guys. So yeah, any more questions about regarding China? Lucien, you said you need some stuff, right?
Yes, but we'll discuss this later.
Yes, I was speaking with your colleague, and he's, how to say, started to investigate.
You were talking to, I think you're talking to Ali, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you're talking about the sandwich cell, right? And you want to get it smaller and smaller. So you need the LED diodes, right? The metallic thing in the LED. Listen, how would you
Yes,
make us?
as a matter of fact, we discussed that this size with this kind of water caps is going to be too big. I mean, the ratio power to volume or to weight will be too high to be used, let's say, in a car or in other way. So we have to make it very compact.
Yeah. How about you make Ali a list, because I know he already starts sourcing with different factories. Make us a list of exactly what you need, and Ali will find it for you, and we send it to you. So you said you need 2 months. Maybe we can get it down to 1 month if we help you out. You know.
No. I was speaking with Mr. Keshe. He was asking about that robotic arm to
The
position
robotic
the
arm.
sensor in spherical coordinates.
I
That was
see.
another.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another discussion.
Okay, Mr. Cash is just back. Pass the mic.
As you can you see the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
This is atomic copper. What it is a block. If I can show it to you. It's frozen. It actually is. It's more than. It looks like a GANS, but is not. It's a very much.
Listen.
You can see it. We have a sergeant here opening the light so they can fully see. Thank you very much. Can I open the part now? It is a nano copper oxide, but is not the GANs of copper. This is the problem. This is what we see. I have to test it, then I know exactly where I am. But this is atomic copper. And if we can prove, if we can test it, and if it turns out to be GANs of a copper, then we can immediately use it. But it's got frozen because GANs should not allow the water to freeze. But in this case, it has happened. But when you touch the bottom, it's very soft. It looks like, it feels like GANs. But I'm too chicken to touch it at the moment. So we'll see. It looks like atomic. It's very much atomic structure. But some has allowed the. Let's see.
Would it be conductive, Mr. Keshe, or
we don't know. With this, this is what we call the problem with this work. You're like us at the edge of science. As we see it, we're opening it. You will see the what we learn. If you can see, it looks like, I don't know if you see the tissue, but you got a high concentration of water. So we'll see what happens. Let us work with it. The best way to test it is to put it in one of the smaller spheres we have and rotate it. And if it separates, then we'll have a better indication how it will stick, because it will go totally different. But there is more of it. They produce a lot of it downstairs. So what it is, the copper plate is reducing in thickness and it's coming up the way it is. Any other questions? So we call it a day for today. It's nearly 3:15 now.
Can I ask the setup of that one?
The setup of this was a copper plate, a nano-coated copper plate. Were connected to a small amount of current. We done this before to create a faster nano-material, GaNs materials. What you do, if you understood from the beginning, we explain all the time, with the caustic, you make a nano layers, and with salt, you separate it into a plasma. So as when you are making the GaNs material, you release some energy. What we do the reverse. We put the energy into the plate to push to separate this atomic structure on the edge much faster. But in this process, you release atomic hydrogen or atomic oxygen, which is you have to be careful. So, but in this process, maybe the current has been too high. As the fields have moved away, they have started the whole process of deatomizing the layer, the whole plate. So now the upper plate, in conjunction with the copper plate on the other side, have created a vacuum system or magnet for the copper atomic structure. So they're literally decopperizing the whole plate atom by atom. What you've seen is an atomic structure. Is an atom of a car. This is a very much in a GaNs state, but the problem with it is that if it was a GaNs in what we think, it should be within the liquid, and it's very, very fine within the liquid. So it follows the property of a GaNs. But what my question is, why is it frozen? We emptied the water of it, but so maybe GaNs in the atomic structure from the plate is different than the GaNs from the nanomaterial. But we'll see what it is. We'll go more detail in it in the next few days. It's a small test here we do, and we see. It's very much like the sphere you showed. If it's a GaNs, it will stick to the walls of the wall of the bowl as a belt. Anything else?
So I also have another update too. During the plasma group last night.
There's some background noise.
Sorry, just hold on a second, Lucian. During the plasma group, I had a plastic. So I
Can't hear you now. And we're having trouble with the Spaceship Institute.
Anybody?
I hear you
We are
now.
listening. You're
Sorry,
broken up.
anybody here?
I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are
Okay.
good.
Sorry, during the plasma group last night, I started a cell with a nano-coated plastic or acrylic and a non-nano-coated acrylic. So we'll see what happens with that one.
How do you nano-coat plastic?
I used the caustic method with aluminum. But I knew it was nano-coated because I received voltage off of it when I first made it.
Ah, okay, but you tested it's resistant.
What's that, sorry?
Did you measure its resistance before and after?
No.
I think if you look into the development of the energy units, hopefully, you will find out you streams of nano-GANs material mixture to produce new kind of energy cells. I'll discuss this with Mr. Abdullahi and the Italians. What you do, you have a GANs which is in different energy level mixed with nanomaterial in one container. And then you receive, it's very much
The sound is breaking up here, so I can't hear what you're saying, Mr. Keshe. I think
can you hear me?
can now, yes.
Yes. What I said was, it says there's a problem with this call. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you now. Can you hear me? Can't hear you now. Okay, yep, there goes the live. That's what I thought. There goes the Skype. Okay, we're going to end this workshop now. So, thank you everybody thank you everybody for being at the 38th Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And